These are O13 notes, graphing in standard form. Your objective, you'll be able to solve and graph equations in standard form, when given standard form, that is. So let's take a look, see exactly what I'm talking about here. There we go. It's going a little slow today. All right. So we have 3x minus 2y equals 2. Now to graph this equation, this line, we have to first solve for x, and then we're going to solve for y. So what we're going to do, when we solve for x, we're going to eliminate the term with the y in it. So the minus 2y gets eliminated. So what we have here, we have 3x equals 2. We then divide by 3 to both sides. We find out that x equals 2/3. So we go to 2/3 on the x-axis, and we plot a coordinate, plot a dot. Then, after we solve for x, we're now going to solve for y, which means we're also going to now eliminate the term with the x in it. And then we're going to solve for y. So we have minus 2y is equal to 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. And you get y equals negative 1. So we plot a point at negative 1. Once those two coordinates are plotted, you then connect the two coordinates. Using a ruler or a straight edge, like you see here. And make a nice straight line. That line right there is 3x minus 2y equals 2. Let's do another. So we got 5x plus 4y equals negative 20. So what we do, we first solve for x, so we eliminate the term with the y in it. So we have 5x equals negative 20. We then divide by 5 to both sides, and we get x equals negative 4. So on the x-axis, we plot a dot at negative 4. Then we're going to solve for the y. And when we solve for the y, we eliminate the term that has the x in it. So this 5x goes away. So now we have plus 4y is equal to negative 20. So 4y equals negative 20. We divide both sides by 4. And we get y equals negative 5. So we plot a coordinate at negative 5 on the y-axis, and then we connect them. The line that we draw is the 5x plus 4y equals negative 20 line, right here. Alright. See if you could do this one on your own. Get yourself a piece of graph paper. And try it on your own. Hit the pause button. Alright, now that I've given you some time, let's go over the answer. We have 2x minus 5y equals 20. So if we want to solve for x, we eliminate the term with the y in it. So we have 2x equals 20. Divide by 2 to both sides, and we get x equals 10. So on the x-axis, we plot a point at 10. This one's a little too small of a grid. Put that right there though. Then we gotta now solve for y. So we eliminate the term with the x in it. We have negative 5y equals 20. So negative 5y equals 20. Divide both sides by negative 5. And we get y equals negative 4. So we plot a point at negative 4. Connect the two coordinates, and look at that. We got our line. Now, of course, there's always some special scenarios. Let's say we have something like this. We have y equals 3. When you have y equals negative 3, you plot a point at negative 3. Now you might have to ask yourself, is it a horizontal line or is it a vertical line? Well, anytime it says y equals, it's always going to be a horizontal line. If it said x equals, it would be a vertical line. So y equals negative 3, that's our line right there. Here's our next one. We got 1x plus 3y equals negative 3. To solve for y, we eliminate the term with the x in it. So we have 3y equals negative 3. Divide by 3 to both sides, and we get y equals negative 1. We plot a point at negative 1. Now we got to solve for x. So we eliminate the term with the y in it, and we have 1x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 1, and we get x equals negative 3. So we plot a point at negative 3. And then we connect those two coordinates using a straight edge. And there's our line. Alright. Here's our next one. So we eliminate the x's first, we solve for y, so we have a negative 1y equals 4. So negative 1y equals 4. We then divide both sides by negative 1. And you get y equals negative 4. So we plot a point at negative 4. After that, we eliminate the term with the y in it, we solve for x, so we have 8x equals 4. Divide by 8 to both sides, and we get x equals a half. We plot a point at a half, right there. We then connect them. And we have our line here, our standard form line. There's another one you guys can do on your own. What if we have y equals 0? Now y equals 0. You plot a point on 0 on the y-axis. Now anytime it says y equals, you gotta do a horizontal line. So anytime it's y equals, it's a horizontal line. You just have to remember that. Here's another one you can practice on your own. Here's the answer. Y equals negative 5. And then negative 5 divided by 8 is going to be a negative 5/8. So that'll be right here. We then connect them, because it's okay to have decimal. And there's our line in standard form. Why don't you try this one on your own? I'm going to first solve for y. I'm going to cancel out the x in my head. So it'll be 5 divided by 5, which gets us 1. So y equals 1. And then 5 divided by 4 gets us 1.25. So it'll be right here. We connect them. We make our line. There we go. Let's say you see a couple more in their answers. Alright. Last thing I want to do here is, let's say we have multiple choice, which you probably do have in your homework. We have 3x minus 1y equals 1. That's the problem. We're going to still do the same exact thing as we did before. We eliminate the term with the x in it. We have negative 1y is equal to 1. Divide both sides by negative 1, and we get y equals negative 1. We could look at each one of our answers. A, it doesn't look like it crosses -1. C, it does look like it crosses -1. B, it does not cross at -1, so we know it's definitely not B. And it's definitely not D because the y-axis doesn't cross at -1. So it's either A or C. Next, we go to our x's, and it's 3x equals 1. Divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals 1/3. Look at A. Well, it doesn't cross at x equals 1/3 right there, so it can't be A. And it looks like it does cross at 1/3 for C. So our answer is C. All right. Let's do this one. Let's do number 9 here. There we go. Alright, so we have x minus y equals 0. So if we eliminate this from the x, we have x equals 0. And then we have y, so negative y equals 0. We divide both sides by -1. 0 divided by -1 is 0. So we have 0 and 0. That makes things a little bit on the tough side. However, one thing that we could do to help each other out is that we know it crosses at 0. So we know for A it doesn't work. C it doesn't work because it's not crossing at 0. It's supposed to cross at those. B it crosses at 0, and D it crosses at 0. Alright, so now which direction is it? Well, if we were to solve for x, I'll make this equation a little bit bigger. X minus y equals 0. We add y to both sides. We get x equals y. And when x equals y, so what that means is if x is 5, that means y has to be 5. So if we look at B, when x is 5, y is 5. When x is 5 here, y is -5. So our answer is B. And that's the direction which it'll go in. It's a tricky one. They could also ask you, yes, no. Is the x and y intercepts used correctly? Similar to what you see. Let's just zoom out. What you see here. That's what it's going to look like. Yes or no, did they graph this guy correctly? Here's your classwork and your homework. Now if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Or come extra help, I'll be happy to help you out. Alright, have yourself a nice night.